What's up, gang? Welcome to The Greatness Machine. I'm your host, Darius Today. I'm so pumped to have you here with me. Now listen, The Greatness Machine, we're about two things. Number one, people who are living their passions. And number two, those who are creating greatness in the world and doing both of these things despite the odds against them. Each episode, we're going to feature interviews with game changers, business leaders, telling us their origin stories, what made them tick, what got them to where they are now. Why? So it can help you step into your greatness within your life, your business, and your career. Occasionally, you might hear a few solo episodes from myself, moi, as I leverage my 20 years of entrepreneurship as a CEO and founder to help you grow and level up in your journey to scale your life and your business. So come be a fly on the wall, enjoy the conversation, and I'm stoked to have you here with me. Guys, welcome to today's episode of The Greatness Machine. I'm your host, Darius and boy, do we have special... I'm like, it's too early. My mouth is not working. Boy, do we have a special guest. Jennifer Cahill is in the house. What's up, Jennifer?
Hey, Darius. I'm so happy to be here with you and your listeners.
Oh, thank you for coming. And I'm not editing that out, just so you guys know.
Perfect. Leave it in. Let's be messy.
And it's pure imperfection. The intro stays. That's like I've done that hundreds of times, and I don't think I've butchered that before. So that means this is going to be a really special show.
I agree.
So I met Jennifer. You know what's funny is I met you before I met you. You and I did not physically meet, but you were walking. We were at our friend JP Newman's birthday this year. And this like really striking, like platinum blonde, as anyone that's watching the video can see, walks by me, and I'm like, "Oh, she looks really interesting." And it was just like a thing that went on in my head, and like I wanted to come talk to you just because, like, I don't. First of all, like my wife has really short hair, and so like I was like, I have this like attraction to people with short hair. I'm like, oh, like women with short hair, I think it says something about them. Like they're not afraid to like step out there and like show what's up, because we're living in this world where for whatever reason like it's a thing, and I'm always like, oh, that person's like confident in who they are, because I just think it means something, and so maybe I'm making all that up. And then secondly, there was just like a vibe thing where I'm like, oh, I want to go meet her. I didn't that night, and then our mutual friend Kaylee Bendel introduced us offline, and then we had this amazing like drop in that was very quick right before I went on my trip, and have become friends. So, man, thank you for showing up on the show today. Really pumped for you to be here.
Thank you. Well, can I share with you something funny about the hair story? Just a quick little segue on that.
Yeah, let's do it.
I had long blonde hair. So when I was really, really young, when I was like 17, I did hair modeling. It's not really a thing. It's kind of like fake modeling, but it's not real. So they used to like color my hair orange and purple, etc. And then after that, I went long, and I had long blonde hair, just very typical sort of girl for a long time. And then I met a little boy who was fighting cancer. It must have been around 2008 or so, or 2009. And he had spent 6 of the 7 years of his life fighting cancer. And I love to raise money for charities. So I've raised lots of monies for schools and cancer and education. And I meet this little boy, Tyler Cordova, and I say, let's throw a party to end all parties. So we threw a 400-person party at a venue in LA. K-Rock was there. We had bands that were some of the top bands at the time that shut down the electricity for the entire place, that were like playing on the roof. And 10 of us shaved our heads in honor of this little boy named Tyler. And I'm so happy to say that 2 things happened out of that, Darius. 1, Tyler is a happy, healthy young man who is in college now, and I'm so grateful he's still alive. And 2, for years after that, he had felt so embarrassed because he had always had to be bald, fighting cancer most of his life. But when all of us, boys and girls, shaved our head for him, then he thought it was cool to be bald. So you never know, one little thing, and that's how I have short hair now.
Wait. So what? How long ago was this?
That was 2009, I believe it was. So I think if you Google it, it's Jen Gets a Haircut, and you'll see me screaming bloody murder as like my hairstyle's just shaving off my head. I was just completely bald. It was rad. I would still be bald to this day if I wasn't super autistic. And it's like the sound of my hair scratching on the pillow as it grew back in was too sensory overwhelming for me.
So did they shave like a 0? They went like
0,
bald?
nada.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
like, so you're talking, I'm 47. I've been shaving my head since I was 14. So
Wow.
what's that? 33 years. But I didn't shave. But so the trick to that is you just don't shave a 0. You can leave a little hair and it'll be soft. But I had an experience where, I mean, I love having a shaved head. I have really curly hair. Well, I did, probably now less so, but I had curly hair when I had hair. But it was funny when I started. I didn't like my hair. Like I just I got made fun of for my hair when I was a kid.
Aww.
Like in high school especially. And so I was like, fuck this. And I just started shaving my head. And then that got rid of that, right? But I liked having my head shaved. Just like the way it felt. I liked the way it looked. I think I have a beautiful shaped head, which if you shave your head, having a beautiful shaped head becomes a positive thing, right? Some people that shave their head, I'm like, dude, grow your hair back, man. Like that does not look good. You know.
My ex-husband who shaved his head, God bless him, looked like Mr. Clean. He looked so freaking scary. He had like the box to his head. And for me, it's just like it wound up being the best business choice I ever made by accident because it's when I opened my first company in 2009. And because I was bald at all these events, it was the best branding thing I could have
Oh
ever
yeah.
accidentally done.
That's amazing. And so where I was going with that was funny enough, like what you were just saying was, so when I was 20, I went on this trip around the world called Semester at Sea, where you live on a ship
Mm.
and you literally go like circumvent the globe. And when you cross the equator, there's this maritime tradition of shaving your head. That's like so we I think we didn't actually cross it, but we got near it. And so and I can't remember what it's called. There's a name for it. It's like Neptune's like day or something is when you cross the equator. And so when you cross the equator, everyone's supposed to shave their head. It's a tradition. So all like I was shaving my head
You're
already.
like, I'm in.
I shave my head now once a week. Probably back then I was shaving a couple times or once a month or once every other couple of weeks. But all these women shave their heads, right?
Mm.
And what was funny was I like it's real. I think it's an interesting thing when a woman shaves their head because like men, I mean probably men too, but like women have I think just more. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a guy, but I noticed that there was some women who when they shaved their head, they became so much more beautiful, like because
Mm.
nothing was hiding their face, right? And I was like, you should. I'm like, that's a good look for you. You know, you should keep a shaved head. So I had a few friends that shaved their heads. And I'm like, that. I'm like, did you?
It's
Hey,
hot.
listen,
It's
own
hot.
that. So I realized I had this thing for women that shave their heads. I was like, oh, I love that. So you're talking to a guy that thinks it's hot when girls shave their heads. My wife has never shaved her head though. She has not. She probably looked beautiful with a shaved head. Anyway, I digress.
I love that this is how we start. This is perfect.
Told you I don't know where the show's going. So I'm going to give your formal bio, and then I'd love to kind of drop into a ton of like your origin story because I think you have such an amazing story. So first of all, guys, Jennifer is a serial entrepreneur, author of. She's writing a new book right now. Hopefully, we'll talk a little bit about that. But she's author of the book "Stop Hoping, Start Hunting." Sold her first business to Markham, and she's now the co-founder of OptiMatch, and that's OM.app OptiMatch. But I know that most people don't wake up and like say, "Oh, I'm going to go become a serial entrepreneur." It just kind of like happens accidentally for a lot of people. But tell us a little bit about your background, Jennifer. How did you get to where you got to?
Yeah, this is actually kind of the origin story is a book that's coming out next year called The Recovering Asshole. So stay tuned for that. The first line of the book, which I will share, is I may have had to drug my mother, but at least I was no longer alone. So stay tuned for that one.
I
But
love that.
how that all kind of came about was when I was a little girl, for me, it was like you got a book on how to be a human, and he and she got books on how to be a human. But when I opened mine, it was blank inside. And so, really, my younger years were just trial and error, so many mistakes. But at the same time, I was dangerously intelligent and precocious, and I used it for bad purposes. As if you pick up the book, you'll find out why. And I can get a little bit into it here. But essentially, by the time I was like 10 years old, I already had 3 babysitting certificates. I had like CPR certification. I was running my own babysitting company in the neighborhood at 10 years old. And so I was doing that. And then I go to high school, and high school just wasn't my jam. I don't know if any of you listening out there can relate, but I was like, boom, no thank you. It was just not my idea of fun sitting listening to someone speak. So I actually left high school and went straight to college when I was 16. And around that time, I don't know if I've ever shared this story publicly before, but I kind of wanted to be an actress when I was very young.
Ooh.
I loved acting classes and TV hosting and all the things. And there was an MTV audition for an I Want to Be a VJ too, I think is what it was called. And I remember I'm standing in this long line with like thousands of people in Hollywood, California, waiting to audition, and it starts to rain. And my entrepreneurial brain goes, Awesome. Money-making opportunity. I said, save my spot in line. I run to the Home Depot with my car, go buy as many tarps as I can humanly purchase and fit in the trunk of my car, run back to the auditions, and then proceed to sell the tarps at 10 times the cost I bought them for.
Oh
And
my
of course,
God.
gave free tarps to the people standing in line. But it was very funny. So that was kind of my young adult life, as I always was a bit entrepreneurial. And then I was actually just writing this section of the book earlier this week. I got the call when I graduated college, Darius, that nobody wants to get. Here's how this went. So I graduate college, I walked my class in June of whatever the year was, 2000 or 2001, and I'm dating a guy and I moved to LA and I get this call 3 or 4 months later, August, saying, Jennifer Hill, yes, this is UC Irvine's admission. Yeah, how can I help you? We're sorry to tell you this, Miss Hill, but you didn't graduate. You're missing US History 101. I was like,
What?
what? Are you kidding me? That's bullshit. And they said because I had taken all AP classes, including AP European history, but I never took US History 101 in the short time I was in high school, they said, we can't give you your diploma. You have two choices: come back to school for a semester and retake the class, which I was already living in LA, which was a no go. Or two, take a 2 hour oral exam on a 1,000 page book on US History 101 with the associate dean or whoever it was of social sciences. And thank God, despite the copious amounts of drugs and stupid shit I did back then, I could still regurgitate and memorize things. How I graduated college is kind of beyond me, actually. And so I was able to do that, but I couldn't apply for law school that year. And so I originally, before this all happened, I was getting ready to take the LSATs and apply for law school, but I now had a gap because of when they were going to confirm my degree to me. So I'm like, well, shit, what do I do? Here my life is. I'm living in Redondo Beach at the time, working at Eat at Joe's with my diploma in psychology. And I'm like, oh, I guess I should post my resume on Monster and figure out, get a real job while I'm waiting on the law school, right? I get 3 job offers. This is my claim to fame. An enterprise rent-a-car management trainee, that could have been my career. A lending person, which would have been interesting because that was like 2000, what was it, 2, I think, or 1 or something, or a recruiter. And I didn't even know what a recruiter was. And they hired me on the spot recruiter and they didn't even pay you. They paid you, they almost like negatively paid you to be there. But what was funny is that led me to actually calling the president of another recruiting company who's one of our clients and saying to the guy at the time, his name was Gary Matura, Gary, this is Jennifer Hill. You're going to hire me and I'll be the best damn thing that's ever happened to you. And I will break every company record you have. So dangerous combination of intelligence and lack of humility and modesty got me my first real job. And I did. And I broke every single company record they have. In the process, found out I was an asshole in my first personal development class that I did while I was there, and went on to build and sell my last company and now building a new one.
Nice. I guess I'm an asshole too then, because I'm like, you're like kind of like, I'm like, you're like describing my story to me. I'm like, oh, like, that's amazing. Did you grow up in, wait, where'd you grow up in Southern California? What part?
San Diego, in a small little podunk town called Fallbrook, which God bless, my mom still
Yeah.
lives there. My sister lives not far from there. You only know Fallbrook for, unfortunately, weed and avocados. Those were the two things Fallbrook was known for when I was living there.
What's the high school? Is that Poway or Fallbrook High?
It was Fallbrook High. I think that literally the story, the opening line of the book of I may have had to drug my mother, but at least I was no longer alone, refers to the best party ever thrown in the history of Fallbrook High, where I literally drugged my own mother for my 16th birthday party by putting sleeping pills in her brownies, until which point she woke up at midnight to find 300 kids there. We had security from school working the downstairs gate. It was like a whole thing. So
You're
people don't.
you're yeah. So I'm telling you, you're telling me. First of all, I didn't. I'm like, I wasn't as bold enough to drug my parents. I just got my parents rented a beach house in Newport Beach, and my brother and I pretended like we had to go home to our house in Anaheim Hills for like something, and then we literally threw a party with my parents like 45 minutes away at a rental property at a VRBO at the time.
Well
And
done.
and then, do you want to hear it? Like
Yeah.
this is like two entrepreneurs sparring right now. So then we called the cops on our own party,
Oh my
right?
God.
Yeah. Because we're like, this is pre-cell phone. This is like 1995.
That's
So
what I was in
we
1996 or 7 is when I threw my party. I think it
this
was
is all pre-cell
1997.
phone shit. Like nobody had cell phones back then. Like your parents didn't call you. They didn't know what you were doing. They didn't know where you were. And so we called the cops on our own party, kicked everyone out, cleaned up, and my dad shows up. He just didn't trust us and like came home. And we made like $500 or something like that. But that was our jam. We would call cops on our own parties all the time.
Oh my God. See, my mom woke up and again, like I said, I was interested in acting at the time and I did this. I was so God knows drunk high, some combination of the two. And my mom comes out bleary eyed at midnight and there's beer. People joke, like my dad's memorial, they still are finding beer caps. And one of the firefighters who worked with my dad's memorial was like, this is Jenny Hill's house. Yo, that was the best party ever. And so my mom comes out of the party like bleary eyed at midnight. And she's like, what's going on? And I was supposed to have a cheerleader only party that night that had been parent sanctioned for like
Wow.
$200 donated by my grandparents for chips and sodas. And so I just was like, Mom, bad people came to my 16th birthday and brought beer. I didn't know what to do and it got out of control and I didn't want to wake you. But then fast forward a month later is when she found the crushed up bottle of sleeping pills I hid in my Easter basket because I was so afraid I would throw it away and that somebody would find it. And then the
Uh,
rest is history. And then you'll have to read the book to find out what happened there.
that's amazing. My mom said to me when I was young, she said, Darius, whatever you do, please use your intelligence for good and not for bad.
I love your mom.
I have like a sense of like doing the right thing. I have a good moral compass, so that doesn't mean it's always perfect. I definitely did stupid shit that was fucked up a lot, but not always.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that being intelligent has its pros and cons. On the one hand, you can connive and do like things that you want. It was like
yeah.
you and I were just talking right before this. And unfortunately, I was just sharing with you, my business partner passed away very unexpectedly last week. And the funniest thing happened. I meditate every day. So I'm very highly connected to my higher self. This is how I'm not an asshole, by the way. It's like I spend 2 hours a day every day in prayer, meditation, and reflection. So I don't be a dick and destroy the world and everybody using my capacities, right? So that's been an ongoing process now. And actually, my business partner was one of my first spiritual teachers who literally, I shit you not, Darius, helped me to stop being a dick. Like he was the one who, when I was in my, maybe it was late 20s, early 30s, started building this company. And I literally once sent an email all in caps. Are you all a bunch of effing morons? Why are you not working harder, faster, smarter? And so this
Oh,
guy, Julian, who passed, was my business coach. And he's like, how about we soften the language on that? Why don't I read your emails for you? So he was really instrumental in helping me not to be a jerk. So he passes on last week. And I think it was Wednesday night. And I was really proud of myself. Like the first day, I didn't like numb myself or any of it. And then the second day, I was just like, honey, I think we should do a toast in honor of Jules. And so my husband and I that night, I was like, well, maybe we should have pizza and wine or something like that. So I'm on the elliptical and I'm trying to ask my higher self, I'm like, higher self, should I maybe have pizza or have wine or have sugar? Because I'm normally like pretty disciplined unless I'm traveling. Like I don't normally drink a lot. I don't normally do all the crazy debauchery I used to do. And so as I'm on the elliptical machine working out and asking my higher self this, I hear all of it. And I'm like, huh, all of it? Really? Pizza and wine and ice cream and all of it? And I was like, shit,
yeah.
that's not my higher self. That's my business partner, Julian, messing with me up above and being like, haha, I've infiltrated and you will never know again if it's your higher self or if it's me. And he kind of showed me an image of him sitting there like a devil with his fingers steepled, like, ha 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 ha.
Oh
And then
my
my higher
god.
self is like, no, that is not what we're telling you. No, do not go down that
You did.
route.
But wait. So did you do it or not? Did
Oh,
you
of
do it
course I
all?
did it. I did it
Yeah, I was
all.
gonna say.
Of
I was
course.
like, you can't deny the man. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I was gonna ask you, like, I'm like, what do you define as an asshole? And then you like said the email you're gonna send. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of an asshole move.
That's just one example. People ask me that often. They're like, but you meditate and you did this 17-part series with Deepak Chopra and you're so spiritual. And I'm like, but I was a dick for as much good as I do now. I created equal and opposite amounts of evil before that. Not evil, but darkness or whatever you want to call it.
So yeah, like so what do you think what do you think that was or is in your like from when you if you were to like boil that down to that comes from X, what do you think that is?
I think you know what it was is when I was a little girl, Darius, I just wanted to be loved. I just wanted to be loved
Mm,
and liked, and grew up with two alcoholic parents, and so I really just wanted them to pay attention to me, love me. But I was really the one parenting my parents, parenting my
sure.
sister, babysitting the whole neighborhood, and I think that because I wound up taking on kind of the negativity. My dad, God bless him, was a firefighter. I actually end the book with the story about my dad that's quite powerful. And my dad, went through things I could have never imagined, but he was horrifically verbally abusive to my mom, my sister,
Mm,
myself, and anybody he was around while he was drinking. And I think that as I grew up, I tried to be a goody two shoes and I noticed I didn't get things done. But then when I saw my dad, here was this guy who would say awful, horrific things to people and people respected him, but I didn't know they were actually cowering and were afraid of him. So I think I took that on as a safety mechanism. Well, nobody's paying attention to me. So let me just try and do it the mean way. And then I actually know because Julian, the same business coach and dear business partner who just passed, he did something with me. If you've never done it, I highly recommend finding a therapist or a coach who can take you through it. It's called either parts reconciliation or internal family systems. So I
Yeah.
remember about a decade ago, Jules and I do this, and we bring two of my main parts to the table. So you kind of figure out what are these parts. So I had a part who called herself Juicy, and Juicy was the I am going to punish you and show you where you need to go, right? And then Angel was let me be good and just make everybody happy. And so we brought both of those parts to the table for kind of like
Mm.
a mediation. And then we were able to tell Juicy, like, thank you. I understand you were created to help protect us, and we don't need you to be at the steering wheel anymore. We're going to put somebody else at the helm. It's very cute if you think about it. It's kind of like that movie Inside Out, which I absolutely love, where it's like anger, anger.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I've done IFS. I've done a lot of I've done everything.
You and me
But
both.
but it's funny when you start to see that. And so, well, I'm gonna say this, and you could tell me if I'm off or not. Like, so look, I'm like a 6 foot tall. I'm 240. I weighed myself this morning. This is from having a couple cocktails this weekend and eating some freaking Halloween candy. I'm 240, not 249, like big dude, right? And this is me being small, right? Compared to like I'm lean right now, right? I'm like, imagine being 250 and being lean. Like that's a lean version of you, right? So like
Wow.
I'm a big dude, right? Um, I think that, and I have this very good friend who, petite woman, and I think that women have to like kind of like show their will differently than men do, right? And I'm not saying like my dad was kind of an asshole too. My dad was a little guy actually, but he was a loud, aggressive dick. And so I kind of went the other way, which is like, I could just look at you and like I don't need to say shit. And people were kind of like, if you just meet me and don't like vibe with me, like I look mean and scary, right? I have a permanent fucking asshole face. Like that's my
I
like until I smile.
I used to have that. My old assistant, when I was doing the first book stop, helping start hunting, I had this lovely assistant, John, who's like, Jen, I have to break it to you. I'm like, what? What is it, John? What's going on? And he's like, you have resting bitch face and everybody's afraid of you. So if you're going to do a book tour and try and get out there, you need to learn to put a little smile on your face. But funny story about that. I was actually in the middle of a real legit book tour that my publicist was amazing, was getting me on all these shows all around the country. And then I was going to go see a taping of Conan O'Brien, and I was going there as, somebody watching the show, right, an audience member. And I had bought it for my ex-mother-in-law and her niece. So I'm swinging by the office on my way to this Conan taping, and one of our team members, Scotty Boy, says, Jen, grab a copy of your book. I'm like, dude, Scott, I love you, buddy, but I wish I could say I'm being interviewed on Conan, but I'm not. He's like, you never know. Conan just got fired from the Tonight Show. You should give it to him as a gag. I'm like, okay. So I'm on my way, get to the studio, and I sign the book right before going in saying, Dear Conan, good luck one day finding your dream job. And I go to hand it to a PA as I'm walking in. And the PA is like, you know what? Conan is a sweetheart. Now, keep in mind, I'm autistic. Don't know I'm autistic at the time, but I'm very literal. If you tell me to do something, I will literally follow what you tell me to do. So the PA says, you know what? He's lovely. Sometimes after the show, he comes up into the audience. If he does, give it to him then. He might just socialize after the show's done recording. And if not, give it to one of us and we'll give it to him if he doesn't come into the audience. I'm like, cool, whatever. So the opening show starts. And because I tend to be, my brain processes, I've actually had people look at my brain and it processes things a little bit faster than everybody else. So Conan starts with this joke. Now you have to keep in mind, you understand I got sold to Markham, which is a very corporate, very accounting firm sort of company. And all of my clients were Fortune 500, Fortune 100, AMLO 100, like very conservative law firms and corporations. So Conan starts 5 minutes and 55 seconds into his opening monologue, and you might wonder why I know this, but here's how. Conan starts with a joke about, did you know that there's a new app that teaches you how to orally please your partner? And he says that. And because my brain has already processed this milliseconds before everybody else, I laugh. And apparently I have a very loud laugh. The camera, Darius, pans to me, and I'm like, oh no. So I literally try to physically cover my face because I am worried that every corporate client I've ever amassed in my like 15-year career is about ready to fire me seeing my face on that like international television, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I try to cover my face and then Conan looks at me, he's like, somebody wants to talk about this. I'm like, no, no, actually I don't, I really don't. So he starts to engage with me about the joke. And then it turns into this whole bit. So this is the first minute and a half now of his monologue gone awry. Then he comes up in the audience to hug me, and I'm like, screw you, buddy. You just lost me every corporate client I've ever had. So I had the book still in my bag, pull it out of my bag, hug him, book to the, on his shoulder, and I hand him the book. And Conan's like, she gave me a book to sell. I thought we had a real human connection. What did she think I was going to do? That I would just put it up? And he put it up for like milliseconds like that. But it wound up like getting 1.3 million views on YouTube and going
Wow.
viral.
That's
So
crazy.
my whole life has been stranger than fiction.
I love that. Um, that's insane. So this is was this after you had already sold to Markham at that point? Is that
No,
correct?
this was before. So this is actually, it was funny. It got me more clients than it lost me. I remember there was a managing
Did you
partner.
wait? Did you actually wait? Did you lose clients from this?
No, no, no. I don't think any clients, I actually lost them. Maybe one or two who just never told me and silently stopped working with me. But for the most part, it got me new clients. And I actually wound up putting the link to the interview in the signature of my emails because, as my publicist told me, no publicity is bad publicity.
I'm like, I beg to differ. I've had bad publicity. Someone told me that too, and I'm like, good thing it's not cached on the internet now.
Right. True story.
So wait, did you end up actually going to law school? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
No, I didn't because so what happened was I had to postpone law school because of rolling over applications and when they confirmed my degree to me. So that's how I wound up being my first job as a recruiter. Then I went to work for Mature Farrington. And by that point, I made like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 in the first few years. I was like, I'm making more than an attorney. Why would I go to law school? And then, well, here's the funny story because I always want to be frank and honest with people and tell you the truth of the matter. I failed epically. Like there's minor failures and like little failures and medium failures. I went from making a couple $100,000 a year in my corporate job working for somebody else's first job, Mature Farrington. And then I'm like, I'm amazing. I'm going to go conquer the world. I'm going to go be a world famous speaker. And I'm like 28 years old. This is around the time that I shaved my head. And I go out and I go build a consulting company. And I failed epically. I literally went from making hundreds of thousands to $5,000 my first year in business. And then I got offered a gig as a partner with another recruiting company because I had a really good reputation. And I worked for them for about 3 months and I had more clients than I knew what to do with, but we just had different values. And so I wound up leaving that company after 3 months. And my ex-husband, God bless him, said, honey, you have more clients than anybody else in your business. Why don't you just open your own company? And that's when my best friend bought me a book on how to build a small business for dummies, like a little yellow book. And that was the only business class I ever really took.
I love that. I love that. You know, what's funny is you said one of the jobs you didn't take was a lending job. So I'm guessing it was like a loan officer in '02.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into lending and well, in the '90s I was like an after school job, but I went that direction. So it's funny when you start making money like that. Like I was making, I don't know, a couple $100,000 a year by 2002, 2003. Like, and I was in my like early 20s, like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like looking back now, I went and did like a present value of $1 of that time. Like that was I was like, I'd be like 25 years old. And you're making like 600,000 right now.
Exactly. Yes. And it was dangerous to have that much money.
Yeah, because you had no expenses. Dude, I did crazy. I did shit now. Well, like I wouldn't spend money like that now. Like
Same.
I'm
Oh
like,
my God. If I look at compounding interest and all the things I could have done with that cash, I collected wine, Darius. So I remember here I was 18 years old. The most dangerous thing that happened to me, this was not a strip club. This was a very funny thing that wound up being a skit on my friend's radio show in San Diego. I get a call. I used to do accounting and be a server at a restaurant called The Gentleman's Choice in San Diego. It was not a strip club, but the danger of working at I always use, so my friend Chris Cantori called me up. He's like, hey, this is Chris Cantori from 91X. I understand you offer dances there. I'm like, we don't. I am their accounting person. We don't. And he's like, but you're called The Gentleman's Choice. Doesn't that mean I get a try? Like he was totally messing with me. But the danger of that when I was 16, 17 working at this restaurant was that I was able to taste the wine of our guests. So our guests would often order these multi-$100 bottles of wine and be like, oh, here, try a sip of it. So by the time I'm 18 and 17, 18, whatever I was in college, I'm in college and there's a place called the Wine Club down the street from my house, right? And I would go in there, and because I was even that, I know actually then it wasn't that I was making money, it was that I had credit cards, that they gave me two $20,000 limit credit cards when I turned 18, and I didn't understand what money was. I didn't know I had to pay it back.
Oh my
And
God.
so I would go to the store and I would buy cases of Cane 5, of Camus Reserve. And I remember a boyfriend coming over when I was like 19 or 20. He's like, where did you get this like top wine that even wine collectors can't get? I was like, oh, I have a bunch of them. I just run down the street to myself while everybody else was getting drunk on tequila. I was buying collectible bottles of wine, which was then thankfully I started making money to be able to cover my debts on that.
That's amazing. Did you drink all the wine? That's the main question.
I did. I either drank it or gifted it away. I collected it for many,
Yeah.
many years. And then when I moved to Europe about 5 years ago, I just gave everything away. I gave my furniture away, I gave my clothes away, I gave all the old wine away. And so now I enjoy wine here and there when I'm at a restaurant, but I don't really collect the way I used to.
I don't sleep that well when I drink wine, so it really fucks my sleep up. And so I have a lot of really nice wine. And what I started doing, I'm gonna do it again this January, is I just invite all my friends over and we just open up
Yes.
badass bottle. Like last year, I opened up 20 bottles of Camus,
Oh,
and
call me. Tell me
20.
before you
Dude,
do this. I'll be
dude,
in the US in
I had
January.
all right. I'm gonna tell you, I had we had 2013 and 2012 Camuses,
Oh,
and they're I'm like, dude, I'm not drinking them. I don't drink that anymore. You know what I do now to have a nice sleep before I go to bed. You want to hear what I do instead of drinking? Because
yeah.
drinking wine doesn't work. My friend turned me on to salt and coffee baths. So you take,
What?
and I'm not a dude that takes baths. Like I actually get really hot when I sleep. So like I'll take a cold shower before I go to bed. But I started doing this as a way to, it's actually as energetically just to cleanse myself, which I
Yeah.
think you might appreciate. But she's like, look, I mean, her thing is she's like, Darius, you're like, I'm gonna admit something right now. She's like, look, you're a person that attracts a lot of different types of people, and you attract people with good and bad energy, and
Hmm.
you need a hygiene around that. And she's like, you need to take a salt and coffee bath twice a week just to energetically like cleanse yourself. And so last night I started doing it like a couple weeks ago. And so I took the coffee bath for first, and I swear to God, it's like taking a Xanax. Like, dude, I had
What?
the
Do you put like
best.
coffee? What do you put in the bath? And
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that leave a
yeah.
stain around the tub?
No, I have like a really nice bathtub. No, she's like, just do like some I bought some really nice what do you call it? Like
Beans? Oh,
instant coffee, like strong, like it's literally instant espresso. And it's
wow.
Illy, that brand Illy, that
Yeah,
Italian
yeah, I
brand.
know
I'll do like
exactly the
three.
one you're.
So I'll do like 2 cups of like Epsom salt, and I'll do like 2 tablespoons. This is what I did last night. 2 tablespoons of instant like caffeinated like espresso, and I take a hot bath. And it's the opposite of me drinking wine. If I drink wine, I will wake up at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, wide awake, like wired, and like because all the sugar kicks in. And
Mm.
this shit's like me taking it's like, and I don't want to take Xanax, but I like to take Xanax every now and again.
Hey,
Um,
I'm with you.
but
Whatever
I
it
can't
takes to
have that.
sleep sometimes.
Oh, I can't have that shit near me because I like it. And
Oh,
but
see,
I'll
it
tell.
doesn't bother me. I only take it like mainly for sleeping or airplanes or if I have an important show or something. Like the night before I travel, I had like a 7 a.m. flight the other day. So if I know I have to be up at 4 a.m., my body just will not go to sleep the night
Same
before I
here.
travel. And I'm just like, I have to knock myself out. But I have two recommendations for you. One, in terms of people hygiene. You ready for it? This is what
Yes.
I call my anti-asshole prayer. So having been an asshole myself, I now have an anti-asshole prayer I say every day. So if you're an asshole, you just get repelled and you can't even come in my sphere. So here's what you say. You say, universe, please remove anything or anyone who is not meant to be in my life. Give me the wisdom to know it's happening for my good and draw the right people and resources towards me. When I throw parties or anything, Darius, like people literally can't get in the door if you're a jerk. Like I throw 4 big parties a year and people are like, how do you not have a single jerk in this room? I'm like, it's like a vampire thing. They can't get through the door if they're a jerk.
I love
So
that.
one, the anti-asshole prayer, I'll text it to you after the show. But two, do you know a guy named Barton Scott out of Austin at all?
No.
Oh my God, I will introduce you. I'm not an affiliate in any way, but was he staying with this. I don't remember. He was in Lisbon a couple months ago and was at one of our parties, and he gifted my husband and I some of his upgraded formula 8 hour sleep. It's just some magnesium sort of thing. And I had tried every concoction known to man because my brain is so hyperactive. I spent 2 hours in meditation and still sometimes I can't fall asleep. So I've tried valerian root and lavender and everything in between. Whatever Barton's magic pill is, it's called upgraded formula 8 hour sleep. I just ordered 3 bottles to pick up the next time I'm in the US to take home with me. Magic pill. That's all I have to say.
All right.
Magic pills. You sleep very naturally and well.
All right. I will try it. And if all else fails, I'm doing salt and coffee baths too. So
Yeah, I'm gonna try
yeah,
that. Thank you. I
try
love it.
it. I'm telling you, like it's surprised me because I'm literally a person that can't work out too late and can't take hot showers after I work out because it will keep me up, and this shit knocks me out. So,
Good
I
to
want to
know.
talk. I want to talk about OptiMatch. So, tell us a little about that. Like, I know that's like a newer business that you're starting or that you've started, that is doing some cool stuff. I'd like educate our audience a little bit.
Yeah, so kudos to Julian Adler, my business partner and original co-founder Moon Cho. So essentially what happened was in 20, I think it was 2020, I was on sabbatical. I was like, never will I ever build another company again. After I sold to Markham, I only had to run the company for like a year and a half. In December 2019, right before COVID, I was the luckiest SOB you've ever met because they called me and they're like, all you have to do is consult 10 hours a week from anywhere in the world. I'm like, anywhere in the world? They said anywhere in the world. So in 2020, I was just free. I mean, despite the fact that it was COVID, I was living in London and Paris and all these fun places. And I met a woman at like a spiritual online retreat thing named Moon Cho. And she's like, I'm looking for an advisor for my company. I'm like, okay, that'll do. I'm not going to build another company, but I'll do some advising. So I started advising her. And she's like, okay, I've really actually, I need a co-founder and you're it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I called Julian, who helped me build and sell the last company. I'm like, Jules, you willing to do this with me again? I won't do it without you. So he jumps on as advisor. I go on as our co-founder. And Julian has this idea. He was wickedly intelligent about all things human design, gene keys, all these. He had hundreds of tools, of spiritual tools. And so one day we're debating, do we use human design to match people? Moon had this idea of matching people together. And Jules looks at me, he said, Jen, that's your gift. You have a spidey sense. You have a sixth sense. I connect thousands of people every year. I was obviously doing it for profit in the recruiting world for decades as well. And he said, why don't we just turn Jen's brain into a mathematical formula that matches people the same way she does? And I was like, shit, can we do that? Because I'm not the tech genius here. I never built a tech company. My last company was services. And so Moon and Jules and I spent 8 months kind of coming up with this rigorous mathematical formula and set of questions. So anybody can try it. There's a free version that sits on our website, om.app/survey, or just go to om.app and click the survey icon on the menu bar, and it'll take you to a questionnaire. It'll take maybe, I think you might have even done it, Darius, but if not, you
I
can
did
try it
do
as
it.
well. And I think you and I matched perfectly. If I'm not mistaken. I could actually
Yeah.
pull up the results and tell you right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell you
I want to
about
do that when you're done. Sorry, but yeah, let's do
yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah, because so here's the funny thing is that we can predict with about 87% degree accuracy who you're going to fall in love with, do business with, become friends with. The way we use it is predominantly in business. Some of my favorite use cases for how we use our tech is I get invited into companies from startups to larger companies, and we do an analysis of their team. And it's exactly what you would expect. The teams that are high producing, really effective, are similarly motivated. And the teams that have higher variability, so the average person, what we found can tolerate 0 to 5 points above or below their motivators across all the categories we measure. But when you get into 10 points or more, that's what we call an accidental adversarial relationship. So I'll give you actually a
Mm.
really funny example of this. So Julian and I, for example, and our COO, David Sauls, we've all worked together on and off for 12 years. David came in more recently, but he worked with Jules before that. We're all OptiMatch. We all get along fabulously, right? But I had a guy I was on a call with lately who wanted to try it. And he said, oh, he said, it's so funny you say this. In my prior business partnership, I loved my business partner. It was like the go get a beer with him test. You know that test, would I go get a beer with this person? He said, my
Sure.
old business partner, I would totally jump at the opportunity to get a beer with him. My current business partner, I'm like, nope, I do not want to go out for beers. Like we can run the business, but I don't want to spend more time than I have to. I said, cool, okay, go ahead and send your results in. So he and his business partner answered the questionnaire. And what was interesting of the four main areas we measure, not including assertiveness, two of the areas they shared a common lowest motivator and a common highest motivator, which would give them some form of symbiosis in order to run a company. But they had over 10 points variability in two other categories, which the more variability you have, the more likelihood there is for friction. Where if two
Mm.
people, and if I remember our results right, Darius, two people who are similarly motivated, whether it's on teams, friendship, romance, etc., you just automatically feel safe. Like Kaylee and I match well, you and I match well. And funny story about this, a few years ago when we were in early beta, we only had maybe a population of 1,000 people in our system at the time. And one of my friends, Amy, was an early beta tester. And she wound up flying with me to India and all over the place to go give a talk. And it was very last minute. She and I had never, Darius, traveled together before. We had like been in the same location, but never shared a bedroom, never actually shared the same space. So at the last minute, she decides to join me on this jaunt around Asia for 4 weeks. And it's day 2 or 3 of our trip in Sri Lanka. And she says, Jen, why don't I re answer your matching questions? I said, cool, whatever. So she answers the questions. And at the time, it used to send an email of who your top 5 matches are. And no shit, Darius, of 1,000 people in our system, I was her number 3 match. And we wound up traveling
Wow.
5 countries, 4 weeks, not a single fight the entire time.
Wow. I love that. I just built this tool. I'm going to send it to you when we get off there. It's called the Good Partner Scorecard, which is how you can score.
Oh,
Yeah, it's 50 different ways to analyze a business partner, and it scores them. I'll take it offline with you. I did a solo on it last week and for half of it, but I'm going to share it with you. It's interesting what a lot of the stuff you're saying. The key word that stood out to me was friction, right?
hmm.
And my new book I'm writing is like, it's basically the encyclopedia scale, like how do you scale a company? And then I'm
Hmm.
taking anecdotes from like the Persian Empire,
Ooh,
like how they scaled that, right? And so it's like
I
that's
love
that.
it.
Yeah, I'm just doing the outline right now, but um I I have a saying, which is scale is a friction removal process, right? If you want
Yes.
to, that's a Darius quote. And so I'm like, if you want to scale your business, you got to figure out where the friction is going to be and make sure either it doesn't happen or you get rid of it. And so I'd love to ask you a question because, so essentially you've built an algorithm for the way you were naturally thinking of how to pair people up, and you did this in
Correct.
a business that essentially was recruiting, right? So you were doing executive search, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
team search. So I always had really frankly bad experiences with recruiters because
Mm.
they were incentivized to just place, right, and obviously they're incentivized to place well, but I don't think I ever met one that thought about it the way you do. I'd love to like kind of use myself as an example. We did this, by the way. We had a woman on the show, Erin. I forget her last name right now, but the episode just came out. She was an expert at human design, so she did a.
Love human design. What's yours really quick? What's your human design?
Oh, I'm a manifester,
Manny
like
Jet. Oh,
this
straight
hard
manifester. Yeah.
straight hardcore, like, yeah, manifester, and I'm like a 6'2".
Oh, I'm a 6'2"
uh
too. I'm a 6'2"
yeah.
projector. No wonder we get along.
And what else am I? I'm splenic knowing, um open sacral. Yeah, that's
Yeah, so you
I'm trying
pick
to
up
think.
other people's emotions. Yeah, it's fun. If you haven't, it sounds like check out one of the recent episodes Darius did because I geek out on this. I literally would not have sold my first company to Markham if it hadn't been for Julian, my business coach and now business partner, coming in and teaching me. I shit you not, Darius. I almost fired the woman who took over the company for me after I sold it. But as soon as we did our human design, I just realized I had her in the wrong role.
It's so interesting. Erin Claire Jones, that's who. She's an expert at human design. You can check out that episode. But so the whole episode was her doing my human design, which is like, if you want to know more about me, go watch me get like interview Erin Claire and her basically dissect my human design.
Ooh.
I love human design, but I like pairing it with like 3D world stuff.
Hmm.
So like, do you have mine? Could you pull my OptiMatch up? I know I did your OptiMatch. I'm pretty sure
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Let me
I
just
thought I
go.
had.
I'm going to right
Uh,
now and let's see if it goes. Let me just go to Darius. So yeah, I have a master partner portal. I have to just be careful I don't share anybody
oh, here it
else's
is.
info. Oh, do you have it?
I just
Oh yeah, I have it
ye
right here. Oh my God, yes, you're much more motivated by fun than me. That's the only place where you and I differ. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the report for both of us. I'm nobody listening to this episode is just particularly shocked that Darius is more motivated by fun. I think he's more
I'm
motivated
so
by.
motivated by fun.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah, I
pulling
have
it
it.
up right
I do
now.
have it. I don't think we went over it. I think I did it after you and I met, and then we never went
Oh
over it.
shit. So you and I are almost a perfect OptiMatch, but shocker here. So I'm looking at, I wish there was a way I to screen share. I could probably share this with your audience, but I can,
You probably can. Let's see. Hold on, let's
hold
see.
on, let's
Can
see.
you? If you can't share,
I don't
is there a share button? I can
share. Oh,
share
there
my
is.
screen.
Hold on. There is a
Yeah,
share
go.
button, share
Yeah,
screen.
go share it. Go
Okay,
share.
hold on. Entire
Uh,
screen, share. And I'll share it right now. We can kind of go into, ooh, this is fun. I've never done this on a podcast. So what you're seeing right now is the back end of our dashboard. This is called the partner portal, where I can pull up any two people's reports. So assertiveness scale goes to plus 40 and minus 40. In reality, we've only ever seen it really go to plus 26 and minus 21, but it all depends on somebody's answers to our questionnaire. So here you'll see Darius and I are equally motivated by achievement. We're both lychees are motivated by achievement. We call it LAMP. Lychees are motivated by achievement. Apples are motivated by information. Mangoes are motivated by fun. Pears are motivated by other people's needs. And then, of course, you have assertiveness. So, on the one hand, Darius and I are literally identically motivated here, which is great. We have only 5 points variability there, which is also great. Darius and I are let's see, 7 points variability here. So most people can tolerate 5 to 7 points variability. So that wouldn't be an issue. It's the only place where Darius and I might have friction if we were to ever look at working together business wise is that he might like to have a little bit more fun. And as much as I like fun, depends on the day, then
Mm.
he might just be a little bit more motivated by fun. And I would just have to cater. And over here, my apple is a little bit higher, and I might need a little bit more information to make a decision. So just taking a quick little snapshot of this, what this tells me if I were doing consulting for us and we were business partners, what I would say, Darius, is that Darius, there are going to be times like if you were my manager, this is really important too to understand the hierarchy of it. Are you partners? Are you managers? So if Darius was my manager, then I would say, and also, looking at all of this, I'd say, Jen, when you come to Darius, get him excited about the fun and what it's going to do and how this is going to impact people and how much fun he and the team and everybody's going to have building it. That would be how I would have me go to Darius if he was my manager. If Darius was reporting to me, I would say, hey, Darius, the way to Jen's heart is to give her a little bit more information. You might be more quick to do things, and she might need just a little bit more information. So if you want to just pause and say, is there anything else I could add here? Or even have chat, write a quick little memo that might make it helpful. But see if you can give Jen a little bit more information. If we were business partners on it, then what I might do is say, okay, this is actually beautiful because we both have different well, you're the same as my primary, you're similar motivation, but you're much higher mango is your primary, and your lowest is pear, which is my lowest, which is great. So if we were business partners, I would say, hey guys, what you're going to bring to the table is Jen's going to actually double check your work, Darius, and she's going to help
Mm.
you catch things that you might miss, and you're going to be more the visionary type where you're going to see big picture vision, etc., and inspire Jen and the team, but you're going to balance each other out because she's a little bit higher apple and you're a little bit more motivated by fun, and you're equally going to be motivated by achievement. And the one area where you both might want to find a team member to come in and support you is somebody who's a little bit higher on the pair. So when we see a lot of COOs, they tend to be more harmonizers, which is 20 is the mean. So if you imagine a harmonizer is neither high nor low, they're 5 points, 4 points above or below the mean. So I'm just below the mean in terms of pair. Prioritizing the needs of others isn't one of my greatest strengths. It's obviously one of my lower numbers. So when you look at this, you want to think about that. And you and I might want to bring somebody on the team who's going to be more considerate about the needs of others to balance out that you and I both have a
Mm.
below average score on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's the pair score. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a
So
pair,
that
is how
it says
motivated you are by other people's needs. And each side of this has its pros and cons. The higher you get in a number, the more it's like a bell curve. And the higher you get in a number, the less people you're going to match with overall, because there's just going to be less people on that edge of the bell curve. If, say, you're a harmonizer where all your numbers are 20, 21, 22, 20, if you think of life like a bell curve, then everybody's going to have much higher likelihood of matching with people because you have 15 to 25 and a lot of the general population. So anytime, like you were saying, sometimes people can find you intimidating. Even you and I having a 27 lychee, that's still significantly above average of 20. So your high mango and both of our high lychees gives us that friction point that might upset the apple cart with some people versus like our COO, David Sauls, is a harmonizer where everybody just loves him. So people like you and I, where you have a high number or a really low number in one category or another, that can cause potential friction. And you just have to learn how to speak the language of the other types. So in your case, I would teach you how to speak apple for the people on the team who might be higher apple or the
mm,
pairs on the team. Does that make sense?
totally. It's so funny as I'm learning this. I love this type of stuff, by the way. So I
I
pulled
geek
up my
out on
human.
it.
So my human design. I'm an initiator, and it says in parentheses manifester. But
Yeah.
and I'm full blown that. And what's funny is one of the parts of that is I need to inform people. It's a big part. I like because and I'm a quick start in Colby.
Yeah, I'm a 10 quick start. I'm a 10 quick start.
I'm an 8 quick start, which so we're both like go go go. That's so. But what's interesting about yours was super like I'm super my number one strength is achiever and strength finder.
Mm.
So and competition is number 6. So I'm like winning and getting shit done like really matters to me. Having fun super matters to me. And what was interesting on yours that we didn't talk about was I was 18 on assertive. What's that on the
Yeah.
scale out of? What's that on the scale out of?
So that goes to plus 40 or minus 40, but in reality, the highest actual score of thousands and thousands of people have taken it is really plus 26 is the highest I've ever seen somebody get. So you're significantly above the curve. The average is going to be between minus 5 to 10 or so, give or take.
So having, I was like, if you were to describe me to people, I'm like, yeah, I'm like win, have fun, and like I impose my will, like when and like I think I'm actually pretty judicious with it. I do it sometimes it's a fucking 100 out of 100 when but I actually pull way back. So what's interesting about that is I'm like, I bet you if you were to show it in like moments, it's always pretty chill, and then it goes to 100, and then goes to the highest score, and then it goes back really low. So
Well, so
I don't use it that often, but I
it's
use it
funny.
when I have to.
It's funny because if we were to, I've taken our OptiMatch test since the beginning, at least 14, 15 times, and I'm always checking my score. No matter how hard I try, there's only been one time where I didn't test above average on being motivated by achievement, and that's when I spent 48 hours in silence. And just for shits and giggles, I took the test before, and I took it at the end of 48 hours of silence. That's the closest I ever got to being even. But when you think about that, generally what happens is our primary motivators tend to stay the same, but they might evolve or devolve if you go through a death or if you go through, a big life change like a divorce. I had a CEO one time I was consulting and working with out of a tech company in Toronto, and he was a 29 Apple. Now, when you get higher and higher in the Apple category, they can sometimes get analysis paralysis because they get so crippled by the need for information that they actually can't take action. Not 100% of Apples, but a lot of them. And his lychee was on the low end. So his motivation for achievement to sell the company, to grow the company was a little bit on the low end. After 6 months, we had him retake it, and we got his Apple down by 2 points and his lychee up by 2 points. So he increased his motivation by achievement and decreased his motivation for information. Somebody just asked me that the other day. They said, are your motivations stagnant? No, they're not. And this is what we found, Darius, that has so many people fail when it comes to trying to put people together, is that most people think it's personality. And the way I lovingly describe Julian Adler, who is my dear friend and mentor and who just passed away, is Julian was like hipster Santa Claus. So he would have been 56 this last weekend, and he had like long white curly hair. They would kind of like pull back in a man bun and love to play the guitar and traveled around the world in a motorhome and was just like a software tech genius, a mathematician sort of guy, right? And then you get me, and I'm more like business Barbie. And I'm like, I love to travel luxury and go around the world and be at bougie parties. And like, that's my idea of fun. So personality wise, Jules and I couldn't have been more different. But actually, I'll show you here because it might be an interesting thing just to show your listeners. If we pull up here, Julian and myself and David, this was how our team went. David, so if we go back to the share screen here, and actually you would have done well with our team. So it's funny because because you were added in here, and we actually didn't, you'd be closer to David because I think he was the highest mango on our team, which is motivated by fun. So here, this is looking at Julian, myself, our COO, and David Sells, and you. So notice you would be the most assertive. You're most similar in terms of assertiveness to our COO, David. But if you looked at just Julian and I here, going back to the point I was making about him being hipster Santa Claus and me being me, even though Julian and I were completely different personality-wise, and we got along well for 14 years. We had our moments, but we got along well. You can see we were motivated similarly, which had us be able to be successful in business. Does that make sense, Darius?
Yeah, totally. This is so fascinating because I've never thought of if you have people who have the same motivations, how much friction that removes from the process, right?
It's been
Um,
wild studying this. Like, I love the scientist side of me, just loves to experiment. And every time I get new data points, I'm like, ooh, new data. And for the most part, again, we're not 100% there. Julian was working on the second iteration of the algorithm, which I was so relieved we have no access to his computer, cell phone, or any of that. Like, oh, little things you don't think of when a business partner passes unexpectedly. But thankfully, our COO just told me he has a backup of the second iteration of the algorithm that Julian had been developing the last 2 years, I would say.
that's great. What so I know we're getting towards the end of the show here. Unfortunately, I have a hard stop, but I want to like for folks like it was funny. So I'm flying to Detroit today because I don't, you and I have not talked about this, but we probably should take this offline or find some time. But I'm working on building basically a conscious like investment holding company that invests in
Amazing.
companies and builds like these world class businesses, like a private equity business. And I've been trying to think through like how do I want to assess like the investments, like how healthy are the teams that we want to invest in, and this seems like a really
Mhm.
natural tool for that. And then
Yeah.
also as we build out the organization, I'm trying to think of how I wanted to do that. And I use tool and like obviously I'm no shortage of tools, but I haven't. But one of the reasons why I built the good my good partner scorecard, which looks at it much more like differently than it's a different motivation set or different assessment set, but is I'm trying to think through like who do you want to partner with, right? And I hadn't thought through this idea of motivation, so I'd love to take this offline with you. But for folks that want to do this, this is for what folks that are maybe building their teams out or buying companies. Like, who's the ideal avatar for this type of an assessment model?
Yeah, exactly. VCs, people building teams. Oh my God, we had such a fun startups that are trying to figure out whether it's the VC. My husband runs his own venture fund. He uses it for his teams as well. But say that you have a team and you want to assess them. We once had a startup we were working with back when we first started rolling this out in businesses, where you had the CEO and the CTO, and the CEO was motivated adversely, or sorry, the CTO was motivated adversely to all of his engineers. Every single one of them was 10 to 20 points variability. So at first we started trying to do dotted lines so that they would report into the CEO who was similarly motivated to all the engineers. And then eventually we actually reversed their roles. We put the CEO in the CTO role and the CTO in the CEO role, and then it worked out fabulously because of who reported to them, and they created much greater cohesion and effectiveness. So I would say if anybody out there has teams that they want to build or existing teams that want to be able to see how they can be more effective and rearrange teams or even teach teams how to speak one another's language. That's one of my favorite use cases for what we do.
Do you think that I know we're running over here, but I one last question, and then we can kind of get to how people can learn more about this and to go to the greatness question. Does this I mean, I for whatever reason, I thought this was something you could also use in like with like partners, like someone like
Oh, of
outside of
course.
business,
Yeah,
I
you can.
yeah,
We're trying to pick a lane and stay in it. We even tested something called soulmeet.love because again, it works across the board. That's been the biggest opportunity that Jules and I had since we started developing this is that we kind of have cracked the code for human connection and can predict who you're going to fall in love with, do business with, but you have to pick a lane. So we predominantly use this more on the business side. But if a dating company said, "Hey, we want to buy you," I wouldn't be adverse to it.
yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I thought about it. I'm like, it's so funny to see that my 32 in fun, right? Because like even we were talking earlier that I just had this big Day of the Dead party. It became a friction point with my wife and me when we got back from our because we had this big travels summer and I hadn't seen anybody. And I'm a 30 extrovert on Myers Briggs, which is the
Yeah.
highest extrovert you can be. And I'm like, I want to throw a fucking rager. Which dude, like to hear a grown human like I'm a grown up say that, like you're like, what? And she's like, and my wife's more introverted, and she's like, she's like, we have a pretty like curated home. She's like, I don't want people like she doesn't like people being in the house. And I'm like, and I'm the opposite. I'm like come and like let's turn the living room into a dance floor. And which we did. And
Which I
and
do, by the way, 4 times a year at my house, and my husband begrudgingly sometimes he doesn't even come out. He's like, he can be social if he's in the mood, but sometimes he's like, "No."
oh, the last year Mariah was like left. She's like, I can't deal with this. And I went to the bedroom and hid. Um, but she's I love her and she's amazing. And so anyway, I realized like we were fighting about the party because like she's a perfectionist and I just want to throw the party. And I realized I'm like, I really want to have fun. And what got the friction point was I was like, she's not letting me have fun. And
Wow.
which wasn't it was none of it was true, by the way. I was making all this shit up in my head. Like she did. She just like had her thing was she wanted to be a certain way and she wanted to, she was just like being very like protectionary of the home and and I never thought about that till I just saw your thing. I'm like, oh yeah, like if you don't want to have fun and I want to have fun, that's like a deal killer for me.
So here's the thing. I just hearing the way you're describing your wife, the one part I left out, one of the other reasons too, because we don't have enough data and we didn't pursue this as a real area, is that in dating, we know 75% of happy couples choose somebody identically motivated to them or very closely motivated to them per our OptiMatch scale. But this is the part we can't yet explain. It goes back to that old adage, opposites attract. 20% of people seem to choose somebody opposite to them across the board. And we're like, we have no scientific evidence. We haven't fully studied it. But please have your wife, if you'd like, if she's open to it, go to om.app/survey, because even if there is, it doesn't mean that somebody's bad or wrong. It just means, could you better your communication and be like, hey, my
Right.
love, just look, it's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about awareness. All of this is about awareness. And once we have awareness that our business partner, our team member, like those two guys on the startup team, they were wildly oppositely motivated to each other, but they shared one common motivator and one lower motivator. And I just taught them how to speak each other's language. And when you do that, then you can have symbiosis and decrease the friction that two people experience. Because, like you said, you just didn't even know that it's just like, oh, she's trying to lower my fun levels. And she's probably higher Apple and going like, I need to be safe. I don't have enough information. What does this look
Totally.
like?
100%. No,
Yeah. And
that's exactly what the issue was. 100%. It was, I wasn't giving her enough information, and and I'm a quick start that doesn't need that much information. I'm like, oh, we'll figure it out.
yeah, I know.
And
I'm
she's
like, I'm a
like,
10. I'm like, let's go. I'm like,
yeah,
details. That's so boring. But I have
yeah,
learned to train
it'll all
myself
work
in
itself out.
business. I'm so bummed I missed the party. Oh, I'm kicking myself,
Next one.
Darius. It sounds like it was epic.
Persian New Year. It's in March, so I'll give
Oh,
you the
that's when my
details
birthday
offline.
is. Perfect. Let me know.
All right, cool. Well, so let's do this. How can people learn more about OptiMatch? How can they connect with you, Jennifer? I'd love to give everyone all the details so that they can get what they need from the world of Jennifer Cahill.
Thank you, my friend. This was so much fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. So a couple of places to go, om.app/survey if you want to try the survey. If you want to talk about consulting or any of the work, you can email me, jennifer@om.app. It was also on the screen as I shared the screen earlier, so you can definitely email me there if you'd like more information. And if anybody wants information on the Recovering Asshole book, you can go to Jennifer, K as in kite, Hill, HILL.com, and sign up for my newsletter. And that's how you'll be made aware in advance of the upcoming Recovering Asshole book release and anything else I'm working on.
Awesome. You ready for some greatness question, and then we'll get you out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Jennifer, what is the number one barrier to creating greatness that you've overcome in your life, and how did you overcome it?
I would have to say, Darius, hating myself. So we lightly touched on it when we were joking about that period where I was an asshole and so forth and the verbally abusive father, but I really hated myself, Darius. And if you had spent a minute, 5 minutes, an hour in my head, I was suicidal. I tried to take my own life and I hated myself. I was bulimic, copious amounts of drugs, everything, anything just to numb the pain and try to stop that negative voice. And I invite each and every one of you, if anybody else can relate, if you're trying to just, strong arm your way through every day, or you have maybe it was a parental figure or somebody you respect or admired who put you down, see if you can rebuild it out. My favorite tool for this, Darius, is inner child work. Every day
Mm,
now, I hug myself. I talk to my little girl. I ask her what she needs. Every morning, it's a non-negotiable. On one or two rare occasions in a year where I'm traveling and I forget and I shorten my practice or something because I'm landing on an airplane, I'll forget. And by 2 o'clock, Darius, you have an upset toddler having a meltdown in a 44-year-old body. It's like, it's not fair. Nobody likes me. Everybody sucks. And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to check in. Are you okay? And then
mm.
she's like, you forgot about me. And so if you take care, I literally wrote an article about this. You can Google it, called The Inner Child in the Boardroom. And if you literally spend the time, tend to your inner 4-year-old, 5-year-old self, you will become the sexiest, most beautiful, most intelligent, most desirable business partner, romantic partner, friend in the whole wide world. That's the secret to life. Love, accept, and cherish yourself, and you will win and be great.
Love that, Jennifer. Such a pleasure. So much gratitude having you here on the Greatness Machine. Very glad to have met you and to become your friend, and so excited for all the things you're working on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darius.
Guys, go out there, check out OptiMatch, check out Jennifer's website, subscribe to her newsletter. Until next time, peace out. Love you.
She's my lover. You are listening to The Greatness Machine, and that's a wrap for today. Listen, if you love what you heard, subscribe to the show on whatever podcast platform that you're tuning in on. so that you don't miss any of our future episodes. We have tons of great people coming on, and we're stoked to have you here to enjoy it with us. Leave us a review. Tell us what you love most about this particular episode. We love getting the reviews. We love to see what you guys love most. And if this particular episode, made you think of someone who's leveling up in their business and in their life, print screen, share it with them. Leaders are the best givers. And after all, we're all here to support and grow with each other. And in case you want to see some of the fun behind the scenes shots or some of the things that we're doing, I'm actually writing about this in my weekly newsletter. Go to www.therealdarius.com and subscribe to my newsletter. We're talking about fun things like business and life and mindfulness and cryptocurrencies and gosh, I don't even know, everything and anything, but it's tons of fun stuff I write about. I try to get it out on a weekly basis. You can subscribe at www.therealdarius.com. And with that said, look, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I love you. Peace. We're out of here. See you guys on the next one.
She's my lover.